Hey, today I want to show you my newest book tracker for Notion. Why and book tracker? Well, there are probably zillions of book trackers already for Notion. So why did I create a new book tracker for Notion? It's true that a lot of book trackers exist, but to be honest, I don't like them so much. So most of them are pretty aesthetic and they're nice to look at. And of course, that's not something I dislike. So I appreciate aesthetic templates. But I think for me, the book trackers that already exist for Notion, they don't really work for the challenges I have with my reading. So let me explain. There is a term that is called tsundoku. So it's like Sudoku, but it's called tsundoku. And it's a Japanese term, of course. And it refers to people that are buying books, but they're not reading the books. And I think I'm guilty of that as well. So in the last year, I was probably buying more than 50 books, but I only read a fraction of it. I realized that, hey, I'm actually reading books I'm comfortable with, but I'm not challenging myself a lot. So I want to read all the philosophical. I want to read all the philosophical books and all the hard stuff and science, but I cannot really motivate myself to do it. And I think the problem I had was that I lacked a system. Recently, I came across a YouTube channel from the YouTuber Odysseus, and he was saying that reading books, so when you want to read harder books, you should treat it like going to the gym. So when you're going to the gym, of course, you're not overwhelming yourself now but with stacking a lot of weights on the machine and then try to to push or pull the weights as a beginner. No, no, no. Of course, you need to find something that is that is in the zone of your capabilities. But you need to challenge yourself, even as a beginner. You need to make your muscles sore, and it's the same with reading books. Of course, you're not starting with Hegel or some other hard stuff, but you have to read. You in the end, if you want to become better in reading books, you have to challenge yourself constantly. To do so, of course, you need a system, and it's pretty similar to going to the gym. For example, it helps a lot to block time in the calendar. So, for example, 1 hour per day where you are just reading books and try not to get distracted by other things. Another point is that you should aim to reach a daily target. For example, every day I want to read 20 pages of a book. Of course, let's continue our gym analogy. So if you're in a gym and you're trying to push a weight, your muscles are already weak and you cannot push it anymore, you can still put down some weight and then you can continue doing it. So if you're reading a hard book and then after 5 pages you think, okay, I cannot read anymore, I'm totally confused and tired, well, simply switch to an easier book. But the thing is, you should still try to read some pages of the hard book because that way you're making progress. And another good tip by Odysseus is to make small reading goals. So I already mentioned the daily pages you should reach. Why do we do that? Well, if we are reading a book with 500 or even 1,000 pages, well, that's overwhelming in the beginning. So on the first day, you maybe reached page 20, and then you think to yourself, well, there's no chance that I'm going to finish this monster book. Well, that's because the goal you have finishing the book, it's too big. So you have to divide that goal into some sub goals that are easier to reach. And a logical sub goal is actually to read 20 pages per day. If you do that, you will finish a book with 400 pages in, I think, 25 days. And that's reasonable, actually. So I wanted to create a template that allows me to do that, to actually, kind of a gym tracker just for reading books. And this is what I created, and I want to share it now with you. So let's continue in Notion. So this is the book tracker I've created in Notion, and let's have a look at the function and functionalities this template provides to you. On the first glance, it's a pretty easy and straightforward book tracker. And here you have a Kanban board where you can put the books you want to read. So they're in the category to read. If you now want to read the book, you simply drag and drop the book to reading. And now it's in the category reading. And as soon as you're finished, you drag it here. Now you can also add the date. So when you have finished the book, you can simply click on finished on, and now you insert the date. For that book, we haven't read it, so let's change that. Of course, if you're finishing enough books, after a while, this list will become pretty long. In this case, you can simply archive books you don't need anymore in this list. So I would recommend to maybe once a year archive all the books you have read in the last year to keep that list clean. Of course, the to read list, you will probably add new books all the time, but if you're not stopping reading, this list should shrink as well. So there should be a balance of books here in the to read list. If it's growing too large, well, in this case, please just stop adding new books and try to read what is on your list. Or if you think, okay, the book is not interesting me anymore, you can of course simply delete the book or put it in the archive. That's how this template is working. So it's pretty straightforward, but I think the heart of this template is actually this reading speed database. So what is it about? Previously, I've mentioned that you should aim to read a certain volume of pages every day, for example, 20 pages. This database calculates how many books are in your to read list. It also calculates the pages you have to read because you insert the pages of the books in this database. So you always see how many books you have to read at what time and how many pages you have to read before finishing those books. And then when you say, okay, my daily goal is to read 20 pages, you see how many days you need actually to finish one book. In this example, for the 6 books, and if I read 20 pages per day, which is actually not a lot, you will need 20 days to finish one book on average. If we increase our daily pages, let's say to 40, you see now you can finish a book in 10 days. And this gives you actually better understanding how long you need before you can finish this book if you actually follow your routine every day. And it helps you to reach your book reading goals because you always see if you're on track or not. And that is my book tracking template for Notion. I hope you liked it, and if you want to try it yourself, please follow the link in the description, and from that you can duplicate the template into your workspace in Notion and you can try it yourself. And I hope it will make you a better and more active reader. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon again in my next video about Notion and productivity.